Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for brief introduction regarding me. And also it is honor and privilege to talk about the nature of the Buddha's discourses here. When we see the topic, so I think you have many pictures regarding this. So what we are going to discuss regarding the nature of the Buddha's discourses, what are the facts due to this? Mainly I want to discuss with you some facts on the nature of the Buddha's discourses with reference to the Sutta Pitaka and also the viewpoint of the commentaries and the sub-commentators, and also some viewpoints of the scholars. These are the things that we are going to discuss on this. And also other things that we have to discuss, why Buddhism was popular among the 6 contemporary teachers. In the time of Buddha, there were 6 contemporary teachers. Among them, priority is given to the Buddha. Many followers were there. So easily Buddha was able to disseminate the message towards the followers. So what the reason for that? How did it very easily? Not only the Buddha, but also by the disciples, greater disciples, how they did that? What is the reason for that? So these are the things that we have to consider, why Buddhism was popular, what are the reasons and the facts regarding this. So this is the brief introduction on the nature of the Buddha's discourses. In another way, we can discuss the characteristics of the Buddhism. Because we have own characteristics and the common characteristics as well. So, what are the own characteristics of the Buddhism when we spread the Dhamma? So, the geographically how it was the important. So, there is another topic, geographical expansion of Buddhism, like that. So, how Buddha did that, and also the followers. So they are quite interesting topics that we can understand. So another point that we have to consider, how we gain the knowledge on Buddhism. So that is the most interesting point in the world, how we gain the knowledge on Buddhism. So everybody says that we are Buddhists, but they again say that we don't have enough knowledge on that. So how we gain the knowledge, how we gather the knowledge. So this is also one such. When we realize the Dhamma one day, we need that knowledge. So how we gather that? Though in first we have to read out the Pali canonical text and also commentaries, sub-commentaries, chronicles, inscriptions and so on. There are many the references, many sources we have as primary sources and also the secondary sources as well. So this is how we are gathering the knowledge on the Buddhism. So this is one such important, the topic that we have to consider, the nature of the Buddha's discourses. Buddha's discourses was so successful among the followers. Many followers they come to the Buddha and they follow the Buddhism, and also they discuss with the Buddhism, and also there are some disputes among the followers, and also some philosophical issues there they want to solve themselves, and some of them are going to the forest and they try to concentrate on this. There are many things that we have to consider. So in that point, what is the methodology was followed by the Buddha? That is the important. So what type of things Buddha followed to disseminate the Dhamma? Because this is the new discovery. So people did not know what it is objectively. So therefore this is something new to the world. But when Buddha passed away, after 45 years, as Buddha. So he was able to disseminate this Dhamma in the 16 countries. The country means the Janapada. So the wandering place of the Buddha is called the Solasa Maha Janapada. Solasa means the 16. Janapada translated as country. So that means Buddha wandered in the 16 places. They are called the Solasa Maha Janapada. There were number of followers and number of disciples. Among them, the great disciples were there. So what is the method used by the Buddha to disseminate this Dhamma among the followers? This is one such that we have to consider here. So one thing is the beginning or the departure of the discourse. Why people come to the Buddha? They want to listen Dhamma. How many times usually come to the Buddha, the followers? How many times usually come? So like today we have only one session. How many sessions Buddha had while he was preaching Dhamma? So almost 5 sessions were there. 5 sessions. So Buddha didn't take any interval. He doesn't take such interval as well. Early in the morning he preached Dhamma. Sometimes he goes Magadha Janapada to Kosala Janapada for one person. For the success of one person. He wandered from this place to another place. Then preached Dhamma. Early in the morning. He looks at the world. Who is the person who can understand this Dhamma today? So this is the first time. Then after that, Buddha goes to the Pindapata. Sometimes we find out some references, while going to Pindapata, Buddha preaches Dhamma. For example, if I say the story of Daruchirya, Buddha does not stop at once. While going to the Pindapata, Buddha preaches Dhamma. This is the second session of the Buddha. In third, after consuming of the Pindapata, that means after Pindapata, again Buddha preaches Dhamma. Sometimes people are waiting for him. Then again Buddha preaches Dhamma. This is the third time. Can you remember the fourth time? Late afternoon or evening. Many people go to the Jetavana, where the Buddha live. Many people go there and listen Dhamma. So in that session, the Anathapindika, Visakha, Maha Upasika, the certain deity, the certain devotees, so they come and listen Dhamma. The place is more popular because after working, the people come and listen Dhamma. This is the fourth place. Can you remember the fifth session? Fifth session does not allow for the human beings. Fifth session given to the deities and the gods in the midnight. So in some the suttas, Abhikantaya Rattiya Abhikanta Vanna Kevala Kappang Jetavanang Obhasetva. This is how the deities come to the Buddha. So that is all these incidences took place in the midnight. This is how Buddha preaches Dhamma for 5 times per day. Can you imagine? Can't even imagine, because Buddha is a human being. Even though he's a supernormal, but he's a human being. But he separated this whole time, dedicated this whole time for the devotees, for the followers. This is how Buddha preaches Dhamma. How many Dhamma he preaches per day? Like this. How many sermons he must preach to the listeners? This is how we have to understand how many discourses we must have. Do you feel that all discourses today we have? Because Buddha preaches for 45 years like this. So how many sermons, how many discourses we must have today? But unfortunately, today we have 34 long discourses only. 34 long discourses. But Buddha lived as a Buddha for 45 years. So how many sermons, discourses were diminished gradually? Only few suttas are remaining today with us. But those who follow the Buddhism, the small pieces of discourses are enough to develop our mind. So this is how Buddha disseminated his Dhamma among the followers. So therefore, beginning or the departure of the discourse is very important. So how Buddha starts? This is the important. Buddha knows that, how to catch the people. The beginning is the important. And also another thing, the preachers become attentive to the points inherent in it. This is also one such thing that we have to consider. There are many the examples we find out in the Sutta Pitaka. Why we take the Sutta Pitaka here? Why do not take the Vinaya Pitaka? Vinaya Pitaka does not consider here because Vinaya Pitaka gives the Vinaya rules laid down by the Buddha for monks and the nuns. All the discourses are inserted in the Sutta Pitaka. That's why most appropriate the sources are the Sutta Pitaka. That's why we are taking the Sutta Pitaka here. Here we consider the 4 factors. 4 factors contributory to the success of the discourses. The one is how Buddha preaches Dhamma. You suppose that Buddha comes to this hall in the evening. So after sitting here, how he starts, how he select the topic. Here, in first we discuss with the brother Leslie, these are the topics we are going to discuss, something like that. We select or we choose, this is the way. But how Buddha select the topic? This is the important. Because you suppose that there are a number of people in the hall. In the discourses sometimes mentioned that 500 people. Thousands of people are the listening. So different thinking, different attitudes. So different people are there. So it is not easy to choose a topic. So in that sense, what Buddha consider? One is attajjhasaya desana. There is a discourse, we find out Buddha thinks himself, this topic should be suitable for this person. That means according to the Buddha's free will, he select the topic. He see the hall, then Buddha decide, this must be the topic for today for these people. This is one thing. That is called the attajjhasaya desana. The second one is teaching according to the wish of the audience. Sometimes audience requested, Venerable Sir, let us preach according to this topic. They request. Because why people request? Because sometimes they are Brahmin youths. They are educated people. They have completed all the Veda text. They need to know something else, something new. That's why they suggest the topic. That is called the Parajjasaya Desana. Then it is popular because they feel that this is the discourse what Buddha mentioned, what we need. Therefore, they try to keep in their mind and try to understand it. They need to something new. Therefore, they request. That is called the Parajjasaya Desana. The third one is teaching according to the occasion or prevailing circumstance. There is something taking place in the morning. Since then, people are talking about. For example, if I say that the story of Angulimala. So, what Buddha did for this, the person who is a murderer? He's a hard-hearted person. Nobody can challenge him. But finally, he was a disciple. People are talking in that hall. At that time, Buddha is coming. Then Buddha asks, what did you talk? What was the negotiation among you before I come here? Then they say, Venerable Sir, we are talking about the story of the Angulimala. Then Buddha starts from that. How interesting that. They were talking about the Angulimala, Buddha also mentions that. Then Buddha says that, not only this time I did that, even in the previous, the births, I did same like today. Then they ask, how it happens, Venerable Sir? Buddha explains. That is the negotiation among the audience. That is called the Attupattika Desana. So this is how the Buddha's discourses were popular among the disciples. Because Buddha does not decide with his own free will. This is only the 25%. That's only for 25%. If we overall, if we take the 100%, Buddha's the decision based on the 25%. So this is how Buddha preached Dhamma. The final one is Pucchavasika Desana. So audience raise the questions, Buddha answer them. So not the end of the session. In the beginning of the session, the audience raise the questions from the Buddha. Today we have already changed it. Today we allowed to raise the question in the end of the session. But in the time of Buddha, Buddha asked any question from the audience. Then they raise the questions, then Buddha answer. That is also a discourse. This is how Buddha preached Dhamma. This is the main 4 factors to success of the discourse. Then people keep in their mind because the topics are interesting, something happening in that day, in that week, something based on the questions. So something the wish of the audience. So these are the topics selected by the Buddha, not according to his own wish. So therefore this is the nature of the Buddha's discourses. This is how he uttered the Dhamma. This is one such. Well, actually, Buddha does not allow to prevail the caste system in one whole. Buddha does not allow. Whoever comes to this whole, all are equal. Buddha does not allow either he is a Brahmin or either he is the Vaishya or Shudra, does not consider. And also in their temples, higher seats for Brahmins, lower seats for Shudras. But when they come to the Buddha's discourses, the same seats are given to the whole audience. No highest and the lowest. And also in the discourses, Buddha criticizes the caste system before the Brahmins. That is the interesting, because they are holding their pride. We have already born from the Maha Brahman. Brahmanasya Mukhamasid. They said that Brahmins were born from the mouth of the Maha Brahmin. So they were holding that pride. Before them, Buddha says that nobody can born from the mouth of the Maha Brahmin. How it can happen? Buddha criticizes before them. Buddha the destroyed their pride before the other folks. So the Buddha does not separate the people. This is for Brahmin, this is for Vaishyas. Overall, equal. So the whole discourse is also equal to the caste systems. That is interesting. That's why they were getting angry with the Buddha. The several times they wanted to kill the Buddha because of these reasons. Before them, Buddha criticizes. That's why they send like Chincha Manavika, and they like elephants, Nalagiri, because they were getting angry. Buddha was criticizing their caste system. But the interesting point is, no matter who comes here, they are equal here. In the whole discourses, Buddha follows the same method. Is it okay? Huh? So this is what we discuss here. That's why no need to discuss again. So the factors I quoted from the Sutta Pitaka, sevenfold analytical method of the facts. The analyze. So when Buddha takes a topic, how he analyze, what is the analytical method that can be used for the dissemination of the Dhamma. One is, Buddha starts with the Achikana. Just tell, this is the topic what I am going to talk. Just announce. This is for example, if Buddha preaches the Four Noble Truth, he says that this is the Four Noble. In brief, he announces this is the topic. Then in second step, Desana, discourse, instruction and lesson. Therefore, Buddhism follows the what you call that is called the gradual trainings. Buddhism has the gradual trainings. First, Buddha gives the name, announce the topic, then afterwards instruct, give the lesson. This is like an introduction. The topic, secondly, the introduction. Introduction or brief introduction. Introduction. He gives an introduction. Then after that, Panyapana, enact. Considering the thought of the people, Buddha have to make it enact. Otherwise, people cannot understand what it is the objectively. So Buddha has to enact that discourse, that topic. Then they keep in their mind. This is how Buddha preached them. This is the nature of the Buddha's discourses. Then Pattapana, establish. So this is how first announcing the topic, then he gives an instruction, then he enact that topic or the facts, then establish to the audience. Then Buddha gives the facts, explains with the examples. In beginning, Buddha does not explain. In beginning, he does not explain. The explanation comes under this. Because audience is not the people who gathered in the same feeling. They are different. Some people can understand in this place. Some people know only the instruction according to their way of development. Some people can understand very small things, but some of them need explanation. So Buddha did that. Then Buddha classified the topic, classified into each sections. For example, when Buddha explains the suffering, dukkha, how many dukkha? He classified. There are 4 types of dukkha. Dukkha satcha, samudaya satcha, nirodha satcha, magga satcha. Likewise, he classified. Finally, uttanikam make clear. How interesting. Then everybody can understand what it is. So in beginning, he starts with the announcing the topic. Announcing what he is going to talk about. Then he gives that discourse, enact, establish, explain, classify. Finally, everybody says that it was so easy to understand. Attamanate bhikkhu bhagavato bhasitang abhinandunti. Everybody were pleased. Everybody was pleased. Attamana. Why everybody was pleased here? This is how Buddha explained it. Finally, make clear. People do not have the doubts. Everybody understood. But the problem is, even though here Buddha follows the methodology or method, how many people realize it? Everybody can understand. But how many people realized it? Sometimes only one person among those 500 people. In beginning, we saw there were 5 main ascetics. In the Dhamma Chakra Sutta, we find out the 5 main ascetics. Only the Venerable Arahant Anya Kondanya Thera realized it. He was the Arahant in first. What about the rest of the other ascetics? Immediately they did not understand like Arahant Anya Kondanya. So this is how we have to understand, because understanding and the realization are different. When we realize something, there should not be any doubts. No any doubts. The clear understanding, that means they must be able to eradicate all the defilements. This is how Buddha followed that. Therefore, Buddha's discourses are so interesting because there is a method. How he starts with the simple things, but finally everybody were pleased. This is one such. Therefore, his discourses were so popular among the followers. Not only the followers, among the non-followers. Sometimes they are not Buddhists, but they come to listen to the Buddha in the evening. They just want to see the Buddha, or just they want to listen the Buddha. This is how they come. They don't know what Buddha says. They want to listen because his discourses, the way of preaching was so interesting for them. Therefore they come. This is one side. And also, the another factor that we have to consider that the Dhamma is beneficial at the beginning, Adi Kalyana. In many suttas we find out Adi Kalyana, Majje Kalyana, Pariyosana Kalyana. There are three words. Adi Kalyana, beneficial at the beginning, beneficial in the middle, beneficial at the end. That means the audience are not lazy. They are not nodding or sleeping because lovely in beginning, lovely in the middle, and the end also, end session also, so beneficial. So this is how Buddha's discourses were popular. Everybody knows that because everybody have to turn their ear towards the Buddha, because they cannot exclude at least a certain word. Everything is beneficial. This is how Buddha preaches. So everybody has to turn their ears towards only the Buddha. Otherwise they feel that, why I forgot it? Why I did not turn my ear towards these? All are beneficial. We cannot exclude at least one letter. They are important. Because everybody knows that Buddha's all discourses, how it begins is so beneficial. Even these are the methods now are followed by the teachers in the schools. When we start our teaching, in first we have to give it very attractively. And when we are teaching in the middle, students are boring. So they have to change the way of their teaching skills, the teaching style. Finally also we have to enact them. We have to make them clear. Then they are pleased. That means the beneficial in the end. So this is how we are using these methods even in the classroom. But all these are in the discourses. Everybody understood that all the discourses, when he begins, they are very beneficial. His discourses were not boring, because everything is beneficial for the listeners. So therefore everybody comes to the Buddha. In the evening, after working, everybody comes to the Buddha in the Jetavanarama. Or wherever Buddha lives, the people are there as retinue because they know how beneficial of the discourses. So beauty of the Buddha's delivering. What is the delivering system? Satang sabhyanjanang kevala paripunnang parisuddhang brahmacharyam pakasiti. This is how Buddha preaches. Satam, both he proclaims, both in the spirits and in the letters. Satam sabhyanjana. Whatever Buddha mentions, they are meaningful. They are meaningful. Satam. So whatever he mentions, both the spirits and in the letters, sabhyanjana, we cannot exclude any letter from that discourse. Everything is important. Because in the Pali language, one letter has a meaning. A letter has a meaning. For example, K, K-E, K, sorry, K-A, K. What is the meaning of K? K is a letter. But in Pali, K is called the water. Water. Udaka. Water is called the K. So aspirate K, K-H-A, K. K is called the sky. K is called the sky. K-H-A, K. That means in Pali language, one letter has a particular meaning. Therefore, we cannot exclude even one letter and pronunciation. In the Parabhava Sutta, you find one statement, Dhamma desi Parabhava. Those who hate Dhamma, this is a cause of ruination. They are ruined. Dhamma desi. Those who hate the Dhamma. If we pronounce as Dhamma dasi, Dhamma desi, Dhamma dasi, D-E and D-A. Totally different meaning. Dhamma dasi means those who see the Buddha. So those who see the Dhamma, Dhamma dasi. Dasi means see. Dhamma desi, those who hate the Dhamma. Therefore, mindfully we have to listen. Mindfully. So people understood that whatever Buddha says, it has a meaning. We have to understand that. Therefore, even a letter, it has a meaning. We cannot exclude them. And also, kevala paripunnang, complete, parisuddhang, there is a purity. There is a purity, what he says. That is a purification. The one book is called The Path of Purification, Visuddhi Magga. So, this is how Buddha mentions. Always he is talking about the Brahmacharya, noble life. That means Buddha does not talk about the gossiping things. No gossips. Because all are based on the noble life. Noble life. So noble topics. So all are the noble people. So this is what Buddha mentions. Therefore, everybody knew that whatever Buddha mentions, they are meaningful, they are lovely, beneficial. That's why they listen to Dhamma. They are so pure. Buddha shows the path to understand the way of life. So this is also one such thing that we have to consider how Buddha preached the discourses. There are two delivery systems in Buddhism. They are very famous in the Buddhism. If one asks what are the delivering system of the Buddhism, we can answer them. There are two types of delivering system. One is Uddesa, another one is Vibhanga. Uddesa and Vibhanga. What is Uddesa? In the Uddesa Desana, when Buddha preaches the Uddesa Desana, just he point out, setting forth, proposition, exposition, indication and the program is a very brief. Very briefly, he introduces what he is going to do. That is called the Uddesa Desana. Because the many people cannot understand many explanations, many clarification, elaborations, formulations. People cannot understand mostly. But some people can understand the brief introduction because they have developed their mind. They have developed. Therefore, the brief introduction is more sufficient for them, more appropriate for them. For example, I mentioned the name Venerable Daruchirya. Do you know the story of Venerable Daruchirya? There is a most interesting story. Please read. The type in the Google story of the Venerable Daruchirya. They're very interesting because so immediately he understood the Dhamma. Within few seconds he understood the Dhamma. Buddha preached Dhamma while going to Pindapata. Buddha does not even stop to preach for him. While going to Pindapata, Buddha preaches Dhamma. Suddenly he understands. So how many the Dhamma we normally listen, how difficult to keep in our mind, not to realize, but to understand. But not like us. Venerable Daruchirya is something else, someone else. He suddenly understood what Buddha said. Suddenly he was the Arahant. Within few seconds. He needed only the brief introduction. What about the story of King Kosala? How many times he comes to the Buddha? How many times he discusses with the Buddha? Does he understand? Nothing. He does not understand. He just come and talk about and goes back. Nothing else. He does not understand. How many times the Buddha discussed with him? There is a Sangyutta that is called the Kosala Sangyutta. All discourses are discussed with the King Kosala. But unfortunately, he does not understand him. But he is a good ruler, good king. He knows how to govern the country. But he can't understand the Dhamma. He appreciates the Buddha. Ahampi Kosaliko, Tuampi Kosaliko. I was born in Kosala. Venerable Sir, you also was born in the Kosala. I am the Asitiko, Tuampi Asitiko. I am now 80 years old. You are also 80 years old. Compared. Compared to the Buddha. And just talk about. There were interesting points and the topics, but the problem is he does not understand it. So imagine how the two people are here. But one realizes very immediately, within few seconds, another one cannot understand. Therefore, we feel that there should be two the modes of delivering system, Uddesa and Vibhanga. Some people can understand immediately, but someone needs the more explanation. How about you? How about we? We need both. Sometimes we need the introduction and also we need the explanation. But when we are matured in the Dhamma, Buddha knows what type of deliverance the system is beneficial for this person. Buddha knows that. Otherwise, the meditation masters, they know, they recognize who we are and they know what type of system can be beneficial for this person. Otherwise, we are also don't know who we are. So this is the way of life. Therefore, there are two the different factors here. That's why some people thought that the several times people come to the Buddha to listen to him several times because they need the Vibhanga Desana. They need the distribution, division, distinction, classification. They need. For example, One day, Venerable Chullamalunka comes to the Buddha and raises the question, Venerable Sir, how many feelings in the Buddhism? Feelings means the Vedana. How many feelings in the Buddhism? Then Buddha said that there are the 5 feelings. Then again, Venerable Chullamalunka asked, if there are 5 feelings in the Buddhism, why Buddha said in that place there are 3 feelings in the Buddhism? Why Buddha says in the different context 3 feelings and the 5 feelings? There must be at least 5 or 3. There should not be the 2 numbers. Why Buddha says the different numbers in the different places? What was the answer of the Buddha? Buddha says that when I explain the Vedana feelings, for that audience can understand only the 3. That's why I explain 3 feelings for them. They cannot understand the 5. Because their wisdom is not matured to understand the 5 maximum level. They are in the intermediate level. Not in the beginning, intermediate level, in the midst of that level. Therefore, they can understand only 3. But when I go to another place, they can understand whole together as well. Therefore, I decided to explain 5 feelings for them because they have developed their mind. So Buddha consider who is the audience? Who is the people who can understand this? Buddha focus them. Then he decide whether it is more appropriate Uddesa or Vibhanga. Some of them easily understand, some of them are not. So they are the technical features. Therefore, the Dhamma was so popular. Because Buddha understand the way of mind, way of thinking. So way of the development of the mind. Buddha understand them. Therefore, no doubts in the mind of the Buddha. So, how we measure the progress of the devotees? So, when we listen Dhamma, there should be a progress. How we develop this progress? So, you must have the measurement. I got something. I understood something. I knew something else that I have not heard before. So this is the way how you think after the discourses. Then how we make them into that position? Sandaseti, samadapeti, samuttejeti, sampahangseti. These are the 4, the progress in the devotees. So you suppose that this is the audience in the time of the Buddha. What Buddha the first says? Fundamental comprehensive. Simply Buddha starts to develop their progress. The simple things. Sandaseti. Sandaseti means just the introduce. Just show. This is what I am going to preach. That is called the Sandaseti, fundamental comprehensive. After that, Buddha acknowledged them with the facts. So the introduction is not sufficient. There's a brief document, even in the research level. Introduction is very brief. But we need to prove with the facts. How we do that? In order to do that, we must have the knowledge. Then Buddha address for their knowledge. Acknowledge of with the facts. Buddha gives the facts. These are the reasons, these are the examples. So this is how Buddha developed their knowledge. That is called the samadapeti. Then enthusiastic to study the subject. So this is the topic. Then he has the knowledge to know something else. He wished to know something else. Then he developed the dedication and the enthusiasm. So enthusiastically he needs to know something, wish to know, otherwise boring. If we do not have the enthusiasm, we are boring. We need to know something else. In the Sanskrit language, it is called the jijñāsa, to know something. If we want to know something, if we want to study something, first we have to know. We have the statement that is called the jijñāsa, to know. We must have the wish to know. That is not enough. Then the second level is the satatabhyasa. We have to practice. We have to practice. How we practice? We must have the dedication and the enthusiasm to practice. Otherwise, we do not do that. So that is the samuttejesi. Finally, after doing this, we receive the pleasure. That is called the sampahangseti. Sampahangseti. If we listen the brief introduction of the Buddha, then if we know with the facts, and also if we have the enthusiasm to study that, finally we gain the noble happiness. That is called the noble happiness. When we gain the knowledge, for example, like the substantive knowledge. So when we do the research, we can gain the knowledge. That is called the substantive knowledge. That substantive knowledge does not give the noble happiness. That is the happiness. Then what is the difference between happiness and the noble happiness? In the noble happiness, there is no any doubt. All are eradicated. All are eradicated. Then we are happy because we have a clear picture, clear image. Whoever asks such questions, we can answer them. No any hesitation on this. Then audience goes back with that happiness. Again they will come back. And also they distribute this message towards the other people. So this is the important. Buddha does not mention, this is how I am going to discuss, this is what I am going to follow, the methodology or method. He does not mention, but the followers say, that is the important. That communication is the important. The audience say that. After they going back to their home, they say that, okay, Buddha said like this, now we are so happy. Finally, Buddha make them happy. That is the important fact. Then they address to the others to come for next days. This is how the followers were increased. This is how followers. After 1 year, how many followers were there? When we come to the Kosala Janapada, Magadha Janapada, Anga Janapada, how many followers were there? In the end of the life of the Buddha, that means after 45 years, how many followers? So in the Samantapasadika, Venerable Buddha Goswami mentions that the 8 lakhs of people gathered to the funeral of the Buddha. So numbers we do not consider, but it indicates that the number of people gathered for the funeral of the Buddha. Number of people, that means all their followers. Among them, kings were there, ministers were there, millionaires were there, educated people, disciples, great disciples, followers, ordinary people, those who have the powers, gaining the power like empirical knowledge. How many people gathered? All they were the followers. How they became the followers? So these are the facts, reasons how they become the followers of the Buddha. So they utter their happiness to the others, then others try to come to the Buddha. This is how this message went to the people. This is also one, this is the progress. This is the progress of the devotees, listeners. Finally, they enact that we are happy because we got something new. So not only that, Buddha had the tone, the specific tone Buddha had. He speak to the audience, not like the other contemporary teachers. His tone is something else. Visatta, Manju, Vinyeya, Savaniya. So he clarifies. That is called the Visatta. He clarifies everything. He does not say mere things, useless things. Always he clarifies what he wants to say. He does not say lies. And also he does not mention to go to the hell. Always whatever he says, he clarifies. For example, elements, dhatu, elements. When he explained the elements, he mentions that the Patavi dhatu, Apo dhatu, Tejo dhatu, Vayo dhatu, there are characteristics. First we have to understand them. All the characteristics of the elements. First we have to understand what it is. And also we have to understand what are the common to all the elements. Then Buddha clarifies the anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is how Buddha explains the Dhamma. And mellifluent, and also easily understandable. So only one place we find out nobody understood what Buddha said. Nobody understood. Only one place. In whole rest of the other whole places we find out, finally they said that, Venerable Sir, we understood what you said. Why in one place they did not understand? Because one fact of the Buddha, the tone is the easily understandable. When Buddha explains, easily people can understand. But in one place, they did not understand. They were unpleased. They were unpleased. Why Buddha make them unpleased? Deliberately Buddha did that. Not accidentally. Because the whole audience were the Brahmins. Brahmins are the pride people. They are holding their pride. They thought while listening, we know than the Buddha. They were thinking, what is this person is taking here? So we know than him. Because we are the educated people. We know Rig Veda, we know Yajur Veda, Saman Veda, Atharvan Veda, Brahmanical text, Upanishadic text, everything we know. What this recluse says here? They were thinking because they are pride. Buddha thinking that they are feeling, Buddha make them not understand. Finally, they did not understand what Buddha said. Finally, they were unhappy. Rest of the other places, everybody were everybody was pleased because Buddha has a tongue that is Vinyaya. Everybody can understand what Buddha explains. Savaniya, pleasant to hear. Nobody was not boring. Because whatever Buddha says, it makes the pleasant to hear. Always they are in the pleasant moment. That is the important. Avisari, harmonious. Everything is the getting together. So here one example, another example, that example is not suitable to this, like that. There is no such the mixtures. The harmoniously. That is the tone of the Buddha. When Buddha explains, always he used this. Bindu, unbroken words. Continuously Buddha mentions. Continuously. There is no broken sessions. Unbroken words. Therefore, some people were turning their ears towards only the Buddha. Because he is speaking very beautifully. That is a style of the Buddha. They are called the Bindu, unbroken words. He was following that. How many years he was developing this? When he was fulfilling the perfections, paramitas, he has been practicing the paramitas for numerous years. This is how he gained the qualities. Suddenly nobody can gain. Many years have to practice. Sara Sankhya Kappa Lakka. Numerous years. He was been practicing. So then he developed how to utter the words for the audience. Suddenly cannot. Everybody understood that Buddha's tone, when he uttered Dhamma, all the unbroken word, continuously he preached. Like a river. Like a river. Flowing. No unbroken words. Gambhira. Even though these tones only for the Buddha, but his preaching is not quite simple. Profound, Gambhira, very deep. Whatever Buddha mentions, they are very deep. Somebody feels that, this is simple, this is quite simple. What Venerable Ananda said after preaching the dependent origination? Buddha preached the dependent origination, paticca samuppada. After that, he mentions that Venerable Sir, even though Venerable Sir says that this is deep, I do not feel that it is something deep. That is quite simple. Then what Buddha said? Mahevang Ananda avacha. Ananda, don't say like that. That is not quite simple. Gambhirava bhaso, this is the deep, this is profound, the doctrinal fact that I have been preached. So some people feel that this is quite simple, but they are not quite simple. They are deep, they are profound. That is called the Gambhira. Buddha has an echoing system. That is called the Ninnada. Echoing system. In the mic we have echo system. Likewise, when Buddha preached Dhamma, he has the echoing system. That is called the Ninnada. That is the quality. That means his word goes to the listener's ear. They in echoing in his ear. So everybody says that Buddha talked to me. Even though there are 500 people, they think that Buddha preached only me because that word is turning in my ear. That is the way of echoing, Ninnada. So everybody thinks that Buddha preached only to me. So Buddha knew the way of life of me. That's why he focused only me. Everybody thinks like that. Everybody thinks. That is the way of echoing, that the tone of the Buddha. Then another day again they want to come. Because they think that Buddha talks about the problems of mind. Because he focused only me. So these are the facts that how Buddhism disseminated. This is the nature of the discourse. This is the nature, this is the beauty, this is the clarity of the Buddhism. Therefore everybody was talking about what is this new Dhamma? What is this discovery? Who is the Buddha? What type of tongue he has? Why followers are following there? Why always the people are going in the evening to Jetavana? Then they also want to check whether it is correct or not. So this is the way of the discourses. So this is what we discussed earlier. Kainutta bhikkave etarahi kataya sannisinna. O monks, what did you speak before my arrival? So this is what Buddha asked. If I ask that, what did you speak before my arrival? What did you speak? There are sort of stories, some certain stories as well. So likewise, then Buddha talk about that story. Good words and meaningful words should be used in the negotiation. When we negotiate, there should be the good words. Buddha advised them. Then Buddha advised, what did you speak before my arrival? Then they say, Venerable Sir, we were talking about this topic. Then Buddha explains them good words and the meaningful words should be used in the negotiation. When you talk about in certain topics, you have to use the good words and the meaningful words. Meaningful words. So useless, harsh words, meaningless words not should be used. Buddha explains. Then every teachers, contemporary teachers and the other non-followers also knew that Buddha does not use the useless words. Buddha only uses the useful words. Only the useful words and also good words, not the harsh words. Then when they hear that message, people wanted to see who is this recluse, because he does not use the bad words. He uses only the good words, meaningful words. Then they wanted to know. Useless facts should not be discussed. Buddha advises useless words, the gossips. So in the modern generation, gossips. Gossips should not be discussed, not talk about. The another one is very important. If the discussion is not for the well-being, for many people, one must keep silent. Ariyova tunni bhavo. That your negotiation is not useful for the beings, human being, you better keep in silent. You better keep in silent. Don't discuss with them the things. Otherwise you would get angry. You are getting frustrated. You better keep in silence. That is the advice of the Buddha. Otherwise there are many sort of problems, many sort of things. Therefore you better keep in silence. If discussion is not for the well-being for many people, we have to consider whether it is good for myself and others. If it is not good for myself and the others, you better keep in silence. So the Buddha advised them. Then people are following the noble silence. Then problems may not occur. So if someone quarreling us, or if one using the harsh word, if we can keep in silent, others would be silent after few seconds, because we are not giving the replies. So that is how Buddha preached Dhamma, how to develop our day-to-day life. Then people wanted to see who is this recluse and how important is discourse. They were practicing. Therefore, once they come to the Buddha, Buddha enact them, this is the noble silence, go to the tree, under the tree, and try to develop this. That is the meditation. You develop, keep in silence, you develop your mind. Don't think the unnecessary things. This is how Buddha disseminated this Dhamma. So our words would be better. Words would be better. Better for myself and for others. Timely said. Buddha does not say the many times. For example, I mean the one topic, always talking the one topic. No, that time Buddha said, that's enough. The kalena bhasitao, the timely said. If the time is given to 1 hour, timely said, then finished. Truly said, satchacha bhasita. Buddha does not say lies. He always said based on the truth. Soft and attractive words are said. Sanhacha bhasitavati. Atta sanghita, meaningfully said. Kindly said, that is the important. We have to say kindly. Then people obey with that words. Roughly if we say that, nobody obey with that. We have to be kind, kindly said. But this is the way of Buddha. So our words would be better regarding this. Otherwise, we better keep in silent. The 3 segments of the discussions, if person preach the doctrine, he knows the meaning. Whatever Buddha said, he knows the meaning. Buddha does not have any doubts. He does not have any doubts. Whatever he says, he knows the meaning. Everybody knew that. If someone listens, he will understand the meaning. When listeners come to the Buddha, once they listen, they understand the meaning. Buddha knows everything, therefore Buddha has no doubts. The listeners, once they come, they understand objectively. They understand. So with the doubts, they do not go back. There is a solution. Solution is given by the Buddha. No doubts for the listeners. If someone preaches doctrine, he understands the meaning. If you say something to the others, you must have the good picture. You should not have the doubts. So Buddha instructs this lesson to the disciples. Whatever you preach without me, you must know the meaning. So this is what Buddha instructed to the disciples. Then disciples go to the Magadha Janapada, Anga Janapada. So they disseminate the Dhamma because they also have the good understanding of Dhamma. This is the nature. This is the characteristic of the Buddha. I do not take whole. Finally, unanswered questions. So this is also important. So Buddha does not answer to the whole question raised by the followers. These are the 10 unanswered questions in the Buddhism. Only the 10 Buddha does not answer. The world is eternal, the world is not eternal, sasato loko, asasato loko. The world is infinite, the world is not infinite. The soul is identical with the body, the soul is not identical with the body. Tan jivan tan sarirang, anyan jivan anyan sarirang. So for these are the questions, but Buddha does not answer. This is also one thing that we have to consider. The Tathagata exists after death. Tathagata does not exist after death. The Tathagata both exists and does not exist after death. The Tathagata neither exists nor does not exist after death. All these 10 are called the undeclined questions. Why this is important here? Because everybody knew that Buddha does not answer to the whole questions what we raised. Why? Why Buddha does not answer to these questions? Are they not meaningful? Are they not important? No, finally, Buddha mentions that all these 10 questions are not compatible with the Nibbana. Nibbana is our final goal. They are not related to the Nibbana. They are not related to the way of Nibbana. If they are not related, why we have to discuss? That means only the meaningful and useful the topics should be discussed. All these topics should be relevant to the Nibbana or the liberation. Otherwise, Buddha does not answer. This is also one such. Everybody knew that. When we go to the Buddha, we must raise the question regarding the doctrines of the Buddha. Unnecessary questions are not discussed in the Buddhism. They are unnecessary. What is the useful for those who practice, those who ask these questions? They are useless. Why we are wasting our time to discuss? Buddha raised that. Buddha also asked the question, why you asking these unnecessary questions? Because they are not related to the doctrinal facts. They are not related. Therefore, Buddha excluded these 10 questions. So don't think that Buddha answered every question asked by the devotees or the followers. Buddha does not answer. He also followed the noble silence. Buddha was silent. So this is the fact that we have to consider finally. If it is not necessary for us, for the development of ourselves and the others, we have to be silent. So we should not answer to the whole question raised by the others. So today, how many the question usually raised by the people while we are going in the bus or when we meet the people, how many questions they raised? So should we answer them all? No, we have to consider whether it is used for himself and the others, then we can answer them. Otherwise, we don't want to answer. We have to keep in silence. So being silent also a good quality. It's also a good quality. Because we do not use the unnecessary words. So we try to control our verbal things, verbal activities. So that is the important. So these are the facts. I think I did not torture you. So the many facts I showed you to know what is the value of the Buddhism and also how Buddhism disseminated in the time of the Buddha, what type of methods and the methodology followed by the Buddha and the followers. Okay, thank you very much for listening me. Any questions?
Bhante, I got one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that the Buddha had gone to 16 countries or
Janapada.
kingdoms or provinces, right? I presume in India there were so many different dialects and languages at that point. How did the Buddha communicate with all these 16 different, or maybe even more, places where he visited during his lifetime? And how did he preach? Can't be speaking only in Pali to all the different, places that he went to. Do we know the answer for this?
Yeah, well, it is a very interesting because actually in the time of Buddha, Buddha does not use the Pali. It is the Magadha, language of Magadi. Magadi is the language of the Magadha Janapada. Though Buddha was born in the Kosala, Buddha takes his own language as Magadha language. So Magadha is ruled by the Ajatasattu. Kosala was ruled by the King Kosala. They have a competition between Kosala and the Magadha, but Buddha does not take the language where he was born. Why he does not use his own language? That must be the Kosala language, but he does not use. Because this is a new tradition. This is a discovery. When we start a tradition, there should be a particular language. There should be a particular language. So that is the way of, for example, if I say that in Sri Lanka we have three main traditions, Siam Nikaya, Amarapura Nikaya, Ramanya Nikaya. They also have the different the words, language. For example, in Siam Nikaya we say Hamudruo. See, in Amarapura Nikaya they say Swamin Wahansa. In Ramanya Nikaya, they say avasara. You know that, huh? So that is the traditions we represent. Likewise, when we establish a new tradition, we must have a particular language. That's why Buddha does not choose the Kosala language. Instead of that, he takes the Magadha Janapada. So Magadha Janapada is a so vast one. Among the other countries, the Solas Maha Janapada. One thing, the Buddha uses only the Magadhi language. Many people were able to know what is Magadhi, because in the Middle Indo-Aryan period, there were particular languages. Everybody knows. For example, Magadhi, Ardha Magadhi, Prachya, Valika, Sauraseni, Apabhransa, Maharashtra, all they are the languages many people knew. For example, if I say that Magadhi is used by the Buddha, Ardha Magadhi is used by the Jain Mahavira or Nigantanatha Putta. And also for literary works, they use the Maharashtra Prakrit. All these languages are the Prakrit languages. You know the Prakrit language? So the Magadhi and the Pali also considered as the Prakrit language. Origin is Prakrit. If I say example, in the old Indo-Aryan period, that means before the Buddha, it was the Sanskrit language. Sanskrit. There are three types of Sanskrit language. Vedic Sanskrit, Brahmanical Sanskrit, and finally secular Sanskrit. They use these three Sanskrit languages. Everybody knows these Sanskrit languages in the old Indo-Aryan period, that means before the Buddha. When we come to the time of Buddha, the main languages were the Prakrit languages. Because the Buddha against the Brahmins. Buddha does not follow their in single words in Sanskrit. He criticizes. Therefore, Buddha does not use the Sanskrit language. The different type of Prakrit languages were using. Many people who are living in those places, they know this language. There's slight differences. For example, Nadi. Nadi is the river. When we say Nadi, the Jainism, they say Nai, like that. The slight differences are there. So in other languages, they said the Na should be the Mahaprana, or that should be the another her sound, aspirate sound. But the pronunciation, little bit of difference, but everybody can understand. That's the way of India. And also the educated people study these languages, educated people. So therefore they can communicate. Another thing, for all these the countries, Buddha does not wander. In every places, he sent his disciples. Those disciples were born in those places. They know that language. Then from there, Buddha expanded this message. This is how they expanded the Buddhism. So some people cannot understand. But the language problem were there in some places. For example, if I say that Gandhara Desa. And for another countries, Buddha says that not to go there. Don't go. Why? The problem is the people who are living in those places do not know what Buddha and the disciples say. In those places, Buddha and the disciples do not go. That's the communication problem. If people can understand, the Buddha and the disciples went there. Those who are unable to understand, that means the communication problem, Buddha does not go.
Bhante, so where does Pali fit into all these languages? Because we always say the Buddha spoke in Pali or the monks are reciting in Pali. So where does Pali fit into the equation?
Well, that is interesting because it is quite simple. When Buddha was living in the eastern subcontinent of the India, it was Magadhi language. When time comes, Buddhism was becoming ruined. Then Buddhism sails gradual to the western subcontinent. After Third Buddhist Council, then later on, it sails to the western subcontinent. When it sails gradually, it converted into the Pali. Initially, it was the Magadhi language. So later on, it converted into the Magadhi. But today also, we have the Magadhi characteristics in the Pali. So we have to separate them. For example, if I say that, okay, in Ratana Sutta, there is a very famous statement, Vanappa Gumbe Yata Pussitagge. A very famous statement. Vanappa Gumbe, ending in A. But it should be Vanappa Gumbo, ending in O, according to the Pali. We cannot change because the ending in A is the Magadhi characteristic. That's why Ratana Sutta is considered as the oldest sutta. It has the Magadhi characteristics. Therefore, in the blessings we are using that. That's one of the oldest sutta. Because we find out the Magadhi characteristics in that particular sutta. So the many places we find out like that, the many examples I can give you, but no time to use that. That's a very interesting actually, that you have to know something regarding the Magadhi and Pali.
Yeah, because we've always been taught that, the Buddha spoke in Pali. Which is actually not true. It was Magadhi rather than Pali, and the one.
Magadhi converted into the
Pali. And the monks reside in Pali. So, and this is the word of the Buddha. So that is actually also not true, right? So it's actually development or evolution from Magadhi to Pali. So it's like a second-hand language, right?
Actually, it is mixed, Pali and Magadhi, even today as my example. So we are mixed. We can show them, this is the Magadhi characteristic, this is the Pali characteristic. Still, we are the investigating on that. The investigations regarding this topic has been done in the world. For example, if I say that Professor Rhys Davids and Professor Mrs. Rhys Davids also done the same investigation on this. Not only that, the geographical expansion of Buddhism, that is the world famous the research done by the Professor Rhys Davids. So what is the language of the Buddha? Still we are discussing. But we believe that no doubt the Pali is the language of the Buddhism. So the Pali, even though today we are using the Pali, we cannot exclude this is not used by the Buddha. Buddha used the Magadhi. So that is the Magadhi and Pali. These are considered as the religious languages. Even in the Brahmanism, they had the religious language, that is the Vedic Sanskrit. Likewise, the Pali is considered as the religious language. Only for the religious works we are using here. Even today for blessing, the prayings and the discourses in many places. That is quite interesting. No difference between the obstacles of that. the same. We respect because these are the religious languages in the world.
So even the written Buddha word that was done in Sri Lanka on Ola leaves, so that's in Pali.
Yeah,
That's in
definitely Pali. Because it was taking place in the later period. In later period, in first they were keeping their mind. Then they taught those things to next generation. So the Buddhism came from generation to generation as an oral tradition. Oral tradition. Orally we uttered them. Finally, considering some sort of the problems occurred in the sort of places, they decided to record them. They recorded in the palm leaves. So this is what we are using today. That is definitely the Pali, but there are many Magadhi characteristics in that. The old suttas we find out like that. So grammatically today we cannot answer them. Grammatically we cannot answer them because they are in the Middle Indo-Aryan period. How old those sentences? But even today we are using. In Khanda Sutta we find out one virupakke hime mettam era pate hime, like that. So grammatically we cannot give the answers because they are using in the Middle Indo-Aryan period. We cannot change now. They are the Magadhi characteristics in the Pali language. That's quite interesting as well.
Thank you, Bhante. Any other questions? No?
Because they are made clear.
Yeah. But your voice wasn't resonating, but no echo in my ear.
That is called the ninnada, echoing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhante. I think that's a very interesting, different type of discourse today. It's not really about the suttas, but it's about how the Buddha actually expounded or taught or spoke even for that matter. So Bhante, thank you very much on behalf of all the devotees and the monks at the Buddhist Maha Vihara. Let's put our palms together and wish Bhante a very pleasant evening and also all the success in your education that you're doing. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much.